What's up, everyone? It's Bones here. In today's video, I'll be revisiting the Blackwing deck that I haven't done in a while and have made significant changes to, but before I begin, if you could happen to click on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons, it would be greatly appreciated as it goes a long way in supporting the channel and shows me that you like content like this. Clicking on those notification bells would also mean a lot as they notify you when I upload on the channel. So for this first combo here, it'll take the Phantom Glimmer, and we're going to start by normal summoning it, and then we can get ourselves the Vata. The Vata is basically just a free special summon that'll also get us into our Blackwing Dragon. So we're going to special summon it using its effect, which will send the Zephyros along with the Harmattan, and then we can go into our Blackwing Dragon, and from here we'll be able to use Phantom Glimmer in order to tribute off the Blackwing Dragon for the token, and this will put the Blackwing Dragon into the graveyard while giving us access to a level 6 synchro. From here we're going to go into Borea Storm, and this one will basically be able to get us a Foolish Burial for a Blackwing monster, as we're going to send the Zonda the Dusk. And from here we'll then be able to use the Zonda, which will bring out our Kunai, and Kunai basically is just a level modifier for your synchro monsters, as long as it's 1 through 8. We'll use the Kunai's effect, and we have two options. The first one being that we can turn it into level 5 in order to go into our full armor master, or we can use it to go into a level 8 synchro. In this case I'm going to make Void Ogre Dragon, and I'm going to make Void in most of these replays, but just treat it as any level 8 synchro that you do want to go for. Now the second combo I'll be showing here is the Simoun combo, and this just takes any other Blackwing in hand along with your Simoun, and we'll banish the Bora in order to place the Black Whirlwind, normal summon our Simoun, and then from there we can trigger the Black Whirlwind, which will get us a copy of Phantom Glimmer, and from here we can normal summon the Phantom Glimmer, triggering the Black Whirlwind and also getting the effect of the Phantom Glimmer, which will get us 2 searches, and this is going to get us the Vata along with the Shamal, and the Shamal is kind of nice to still play in my opinion because you want to be able to get into your new Black Whirlwind, and we're going to do just that as we're going to special summon out the Vata, use the Vata's effect, and then from there we can send off the Zephyros and the Harmattan. A theme that you'll notice in basically all of these combos is that we're going to be sending Harmattan off, but we're going to bring out the Blackwing Dragon as we're then going to use the effect of the new Black Whirlwind, which will get back the Vata. We can then also trigger the Shamal, which will get us back the Harmattan, and this will basically ensure 2 extra summons. As we're going to get the first one off of Vata, we're then going to get Zephyros effect, which will return itself to the field as we can return the new Black Whirlwind to our hand. We'll then activate the new Black Whirlwind before making our next play, and you do play kind of hard into Nib with this deck. It sort of has that issue, but making full armor master as early as possible is a way to help you around that. So it's going to be the first thing that we make, as we're going to then trigger the new Black Whirlwind, which will get us back to Shamal, and then from here we can synchro away into a synchro 8, and I'm going to use Void Ogre Dragon again. I'm using this because it is a counter to Evenly. If you don't play any counters to Evenly, you do kind of get wrecked by it, but we're going to activate the Phantom Glimmer, which will tribute the Simoun and get us a token, as we're then going to special summon out the Harmattan, targeting the Phantom Glimmer, and then from there we can synchro away into the Borea, and then we're going to use the Borea's effect, sending a level 4, and we're doing this because our Harmattan is level 6 already, so we can go into a second copy of Full Armor Master, as we're then going to banish the Blackwing Dragon and the Borea in order to make a Blackwing Assault Dragon to round out our end board. Now for this third combo, I'll be coming back to Phantom Glimmer, except this time we actually drew the Vata. And we're going to start this hand by normal summoning the Phantom Glimmer, using its effect, which will then let us a search for the Shamal, as we're going to activate the Shamal, place the new Black Whirlwind onto the field, as we're going to special summon out the Vata, use its effect, sending the Zephyros and the Harmattan. We'll then bring out the Blackwing Dragon, as we're going to trigger the new Black Whirlwind, getting our Vata. We'll then also trigger the Shamal, which will get us back the Harmattan, and then from here we can bring out the Vata, which will then get us access into the Zephyros to return the new Black Whirlwind to hand, as we're then going to reactivate it so that we can bring out our Full Armor Master and get the extra summon off of the new Black Whirlwind that we return to hand off of Zephyros, because it's not a hard once per turn, but we're going to get back the Shamal, And then from here, we'll then be able to use the effect of the Phantom Glimmer, tributing the Zephyros, which will give us a level 2 token tuner. And from here, we'll then go into the Borea. The Borea will then be able to send us the Zonda, and from here we'll then activate the Zonda. The Zonda will get us into the Kunai, and now we can use the Kunai's effect, which will change the level of the Borea into level 5 so that we can go into the Void Ogre Dragon. And then from here, we'll special summon out the Harmattan, targeting the Shamal, which is level 4, turning it into level 6, giving us access into the second full Armor Master, and then we can banish the Blackwing Dragon along with the Borea to make the Blackwinged Assault Dragon. So you will see a lot of repetition in some of these end boards, but it's kind of what Blackwings do, and a lot of it is just learning how to get there with the combo pieces that you open into. So this next combo will be with Black Whirlwind and the Phantom Glimmer, and we're going to start this one by activating the Black Whirlwind. We can then normal summon the Phantom Glimmer, triggering our Whirlwind along with the effect of the Phantom Glimmer, which will get us into the Shamal and the Vata again. And these are the two main search targets that you want to get into when you have these cards, as they allow you to pop off the most as we get the new Black Whirlwind. Bring out the Vata so that we can use the Vata getting into the Zephyros and the Harmattan so that we can go into our Blackwing Dragon. From here we'll then trigger the new Black Whirlwind, which will get back the Vata, also triggering the Shamal, as we'll be able to get back the Harmattan. And then from here we're going to bring back the Vata and use our Zephyros, bring back the new Whirlwind to our hand, as we're then going to reactivate it as we special summon the Zephyros. And then from here we can go into our full Armor Master as we're going to trigger the new Whirlwind, getting back our Shamal. And then from here we'll activate the effect of Glimmer as we're going to tribute off the Zephyros for the token. We'll then be able to go into our Borea as we're going to use its effect, sending us the Zonda. And then from here we'll use the Zonda's effect, getting us into the Kunai. From here we can activate the Kunai's effect, which will target the Borea, turning it into a level 3 or 5 as we're going to go into the Void Ogre, use the effect of the Harmattan in order to target the Shamal, which will turn it into level 6, giving us access into a second copy of Full Armor Master, as we're then going to banish the Blackwing Dragon along with the Borea for the Blackwinged Assault Dragon, giving us practically the same end board as the last one, except with both copies of the Whirlwinds on board. Now, this is the first hand where I want to show you're not going to have Phantom Glimmer or Simoun, but you do have Whirlwind, and we're going to start this hand by activating the Whirlwind. We'll then be able to normal summon the Bora, trigger off the Whirlwind, which will get us a search for the Vata. From here, we'll special summon out the Vata as we're going to go into our Borea without using the Vata's effect, which is important because otherwise you wouldn't be able to do much. But we're going to send the Zonda from our deck to the graveyard, and then we're going to use its effect, which will bring out the Kunai. And then from here, we can activate the Kunai's effect in order to turn the Borea into level 3 or 5. It depends on what you want to do, but we're going to go into the Full Armor Master after turning it into level 5. And I know that it's not much, but this is what a hand looks like when you don't open your starters or really even extenders. Now for this next hand, we'll be doing Simoun plus any Blackwing and Gale, and we're going to start this one by using the Simoun's effect in order to banish the Bora. We'll then be able to place our Black Whirlwind, normal summoning the Simoun, trigger the Black Whirlwind's effect, which will get us into the Phantom Glimmer. We can now normal summon the Phantom Glimmer, use the effect of the Black Whirlwind along with the Phantom Glimmer, and this will get us the 2 searches for the Shamal and the Vata, and a lot of repetition again. But you're going to see we're going to get the new Black Whirlwind, special summon out the Vata, use the Vata's effect, which will send the Zephyros and the Harmattan to the graveyard, bringing out the Blackwing Dragon. And then from here we can trigger the new Black Whirlwind in order to bring back the Vata, triggering the Shamal as well, get back the Harmattan, triggering the new Black Whirlwind, getting ourselves back the Vata, along with the Shamal, getting ourselves back the Harmattan. But we're going to bring out the Vata, then bring out the Zephyros by returning the new Black Whirlwind. And then from here we'll be able to activate the new Black Whirlwind, which will be able to allow us to get an extender after we bring out the Full Armor Master. And from here we're going to bring out the Shamal via the new Black Whirlwind. We'll then be able to go into a Synchro 8, as this time we're going to go into Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. We'll then activate the effect of the Phantom Glimmer, giving us access into our Borea. But the first thing that we're going to do here is special summon out the Harmattan, use the Harmattan's effect targeting the Phantom Glimmer, And then from here we can synchro away into our Borea. We'll then use the Borea's effect, which will get us a send, as we're going to send the Zonda. Use the Zonda's effect, which will bring out the kunai. And then from here we're going to take the burn damage for the Zonda, but also going to use the effect of the kunai to manipulate the level of the Borea, and we're going to turn it into level 4 in order to go into the Blackwing Full Armor Master with the Borea and the Harmatan. And then from here we can special summon out the Gale from our hand, so you do need the Gale specifically, as you want to be able to go into a Synchro 8 with the leftover cards that you have, as we do go into the Void Ogre Dragon. Now for this next combo we'll be doing Phantom Glimmer plus Bora and the Vata. The Bora can be Pinaka, or Pinaki, I don't remember its name. The other is level 4 special summon, but we're going to start this one by normal summoning the Phantom Glimmer, getting ourselves the copy of the Shamal. We'll then activate the Shamal, getting us the new Whirlwind, as we'll then be able to special summon out the Vata, use the Vata's effect, which will send the Harmatan and the Zephyros. We'll then go into our Blackwing Dragon, as we're going to activate the effects of the new Whirlwind along with the Shamal, and this will get us back the Harmatan along with the Vata, as seen in basically every other combo. But from here we're going to then have access to Zephyros being able to bring itself back, bouncing back our new Whirlwind, as we're then going to activate the new Whirlwind, and you'll see that the Blackwing Dragon can also absorb some of the damage that you take, as we did with Zephyros, so that can be pretty nice in some of the hands that you can play out. But we're going to go into Blackwing Full Armor Master, triggering off our new Whirlwind, which will get us back to Shamal, and then we can activate the effect of the Phantom Glimmer, tributing off the Zephyros, getting ourselves the token, and then from here we'll be able to go into Borea. Borea will then send ourselves Bora to our graveyard, giving us a level 4 tuner on board along with the Shamal, and we also have the Harmatan, in which we can target the Borea in order to turn it to level 6. And this will basically just give us access to a level 8 and a level 10 Synchro, giving us 2 Full Armor Masters and a Void Ogre Dragon, or any other level 8 Synchro that you choose to make. Now, in this next hand, Bora can basically be any other level 4 that you can summon. I believe it still has to be a Blackwing or a Dark Monster, but that's irrelevant as we're playing Blackwings. And we're going to start this hand by using the effect of the Shamal, and we'll then be able to get ourselves the new Whirlwind. We'll normal summon the Bora, as we're going to special summon out the Orochi, and then we can synchro away into our Dark Dimension Soldier, as we're then going to trigger the new Black Whirlwind in order to get back our Orochi. You can also use the Oroshi's effect. I'm just going to use it throughout this video to kind of remind you that you can, but we're going to then have access to a level 6 sync. Bring out the Borea, using its effect and also triggering the Shamal, which will get ourselves back the Bora, as we're also going to trigger the Orochi, which again, you don't have to. But we're then going to add ourselves back the Bora or Zephyros off of the Borea, as we're going to return the new Whirlwind to our hand to bring back that Zephyros. And now we'll have access to a level 8 Synchro, but first we're going to special summon out our Bora along with activating the Black Whirlwind, as you won't have any other point to bring it out during this combo. And then from here we're going to go into the Void Ogre Dragon. This will trigger the new Whirlwind, which will bring back the Borea, and this will give us access to a level 10 Synchro, as we make the Full Armor Master to end our board. Now we're going to get into the 2 test hands. These will also show different lines that you can take. As you see, we actually opened up the kunai. So we're going to start this one by activating the Shamal, which will get us into the new Whirlwind, and then from here we can activate the Simoun, banishing the kunai. And then from here we can place the Whirlwind, which will allow us to also normal summon the Simoun. We can then trigger the Black Whirlwind effect, getting us the Phantom Glimmer, as we're going to normal summon the Phantom Glimmer, triggering the Black Whirlwind, as well as getting the effect of the Phantom Glimmer to get us 2 searches. And because we already opened the Shamal, we don't have to search it, so we end up getting the Twin Shadow, and this is basically just a way to play around different board breakers, while potentially also keeping it as sort of a hand trap. But from here, we're then going to be able to special summon out our Vata. We can then use its effect, which will send the Zephyros along with the Harmatan, bringing out our Blackwing Dragon, triggering the new Whirlwind to bring out our Vata. We'll also trigger the Simoun, which will get ourselves back the Harmattan, and then from here we'll be able to absorb the damage, bring back the Vata, use the Zephyros to bring back the new Whirlwind to our hand as we're going to fill up our monster zone, and then from here we're going to reactivate the new Whirlwind, go into a level 10 Synchro with the full Armor Master, as we're then going to use the effect of the new Whirlwind, bringing back our Simoun, and then from here we can go into the Void Ogre Dragon, as we'll then use the effect of the Phantom Glimmer, tributing the Simoun to get us the token and access to a level 6, but first we're going to bring out the Harmattan, targeting the Phantom Glimmer to turn it to level 6, and then from here we're going to go into our Borea. Borea will be able to get us a send here, as we're going to send the Chris, and this will basically just be to turn it into level 4, as we're going to go into the Armor Master as the Harmattan was level 6, and then we can go into our Blackwinged Assault Dragon as well, because we have the Borea and the Blackwinged Dragon in our graveyard. We're also going to be able to activate the Twin Shadow if you want to. You don't have to right now. You can save it for your opponent's turn in order to go into something like Silverwind so that it can actually be a disruption. If you're going for game, this is another option that you have where you can just go into Hawk Joe and then use Hawk Joe's effect in order to bring back the Simoun, and this will just bring extra damage on board. And I also want to show the reasoning behind stuff like Book of Moon and Evenly and the Void Ogre Dragon, just playing cards that you can set so that your Void Ogre Dragon always has its spell and trap negate, while you just combo out with the cards that you have in hand. The final test hand, and you'll see that we drew kind of no starters, but we did open double Whirlwind, which is still strong, as you'll see momentarily. We're going to start this hand by activating both Whirlwinds, and then we'll normal summon the Zephyros, which will get us 2 searches, and from here we'll be able to search our Vata along with a copy of the Orochi, and keep in mind that if this was for Chris, you could even add yourself the Shamal and basically have full combo, but we open Zephyros. And from here we're going to bring out the Vata, use its effect, which will send the Zonda, and we'll directly go into our Blackwing Dragon as we're going to bring out the Orochi, then go into our Dark Dimension Soldier, as from here we'll be able to trigger the Orochi if you want to, as then we'll be able to use the Zonda's effect, and this will get us into the Kunai. We'll then use the Kunai's effect, also absorbing the 2100 damage, which is important. It is kind of a lot of damage to take, but we'll then use the Kunai's effect, turning the Dark Dimension Soldier into level 4, and funny enough, it doesn't matter. I just want to show that in this particular hand, you can actually use Zonda's level manipulation twice. We're going to return it to hand by using the Zephyros effect. Then we can use the Kunai in our hand to tribute the Zephyros and special summon itself out, as we'll then be able to also turn the Blackwing Dragon into level 1, as it is not a hard once per turn. And we're going to go into our Borea like this because the Kunai was level 5 and we turned the Blackwing Dragon into level 1. We'll send our Kunai. We're going to turn it to level 4. Then we can use the effect of the Soldier, as we'll be able to get ourselves back the Zonda. And then we can go into a level 10 Synchro here. And you can go into a level 8 Synchro if you want to keep the Book of Eclipse. Just kind of comboing as hard as I can for the video, but from here we're then going to go into our Blackwinged Assault Dragon, as we can then set the Twin Shadow and go to our opponent's turn. In mind, you could have also used this earlier in the combo if you wanted to end on another Synchro. I wanted to show here that in the end phase, because we also did absorb the Zonda damage and didn't have to take any effect damage at all, if you're in time or whatever, you can actually get the extra 100 burn off of Dark Dimension Soldier for having your Twin Shadow set. So finally, with all the combos and test hands out of the way, you'll see I was being quite literal when I said that's kind of what Blackwings are, with 3 copies of Simoun, 3 copies of the Phantom Glimmer, and 3 copies of Vata, with 3 copies of Prosperity, and 3 copies of Black Whirlwinds that with any of your level 4 normal summons also get you into Vata, and Vata is basically access into Zonda or Zephyros. The deck is very consistent. More importantly, you'll see that there's a lot of space for going second cards as well. You can even cut things like Oster, Called by the Grave, maybe even Orochi if you want to add in other 3 slots for going second. Now, because this is a deck where you kind of want to see your specific combo pieces, or you want to draw your outs, we do play the Prosperity, and it's because we want to dig for them specifically. Because we're on the Void Ogre Dragon, you don't want to keep cards in hand, so that's another reason why I'm playing Prosperity over Allure. It just made more sense in this build. You'll also see the board breakers are here because of Void Ogre Dragon and being able to just have combat 2 monsters through the books and the imperms and then having the ogre in order to stop a spell and trap card that your opponent activates, like actual payoff, then ending on empty boards of just full armor masters with Blackwinged Assault Dragon, maybe go Berserker of the Tenny that can kind of just leave you vulnerable to spells or traps that your opponent may use to try and play around things. Twin Shadow is also very important, as noted in that last replay. Having the ability to go into the Silverwing on your opponent's turn to control 2+ Blackwings is kind of nice, as it also puts your opponent on having a response for something like that, while letting you dictate the momentum. Outside of that, I want to get to some of the options, and Vayu I just don't think that you need right now. I think that shown on the combo videos, there's enough ways to get everything you need out with such few cards, and we play the Prosperities along with multiple ways to just kind of get to them. And then I also want to talk about Steam and why I stopped playing this. Steam brings out a token, and sometimes there's nothing that you can do with that token on board, and you don't want to get caught in a position where you bring out a big board, have a token, you don't have a spell and trap negate, and then your opponent hits you with an evenly, which just leaves you on a token. That's why Steam isn't in the deck. These are just options that you have here. The Gozen can be kind of nice against Cash, but is vulnerable to Fenrir. We then have the Thrust, which would be kind of nice to counter Nibiru, but we just don't have enough good power spells, in my opinion, Blackwings that are normal spell cards in order to really make this work. While you technically could search your Twin Shadow, you saw that your Glimmer can kind of do that anyways. And there's the Exceed package that, if you want, you can also play. I'm playing a Synchro-only build, and it's because I don't think that you need play the Raid Raptor or Phantom Knight stuff. I know that people like playing the Kali Yuga to make their turn 1 going better, especially with all the board breakers around. I wanted to do that a more natural way for the deck, which was through Void Ogre and the books along with the imperms to combat the monsters and giving you that piece of spell and trap negation. Also helps that your level 10s become something that your opponent kind of have to out. Also happen to have very big bodies. Anyways, with all of that out of the way, I'll get onto the card by card. The 3 Simoun, the 3 Glimmer, the 3 Vata, 1 Chris, the 1 Bora, and the 1 Gil, and I know that this looks weird, but my thing is that they all have their uses. If you play any at multiples, you're either going over 40 or you're not playing one or the other. I just decided to do one of each and try to minimize on cards that do the same thing, because you also have the copies of Vata, which is another special summon out from the hand, along with the Orochi, the Harmattan, which can basically do the same things as well. That's my reasonings for that. We then have the Zonda, the Kunai, Jamal, the Oster, which again is optional, the 3 Prosperity, the 3 Black Whirlwinds, the new Feather Whirlwind, the Feroz, the Twin Shadow, Called by the Grave, Evenlies, the Imperms, Book of Eclipse, and Book of Moons to round out the main deck. Onto the extra deck, we have the 2 Blackwinged Assault Dragon, the 2 Blackwing Full Armor Master, the Hot Red, the Void Ogre Dragon, the 2 Blackwing Dragon, 1 Blackwing Silverwind, the 1 Draco Berserker of the Tenyi, Hawk Joe, Raikiri, which I still think is an important piece, not only being able to become a tuner, but just being removal for your opponent's board is kind of nice going second. We then have the Nothung, the Borea, along with the Dark Dimension Soldier to round out the extra deck. Anyways, if you made it this far into the video, I thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. It's Bones, signing out.